The 2018 GKA Kitesurf World Tour reached its climax in December in Torquay, Australia, after a thrilling 7-event season that saw the world's best kitesurfers go head-to-head across 4 continents. The naturally powered sport of kitesurfing is growing rapidly around the world as more and more people discover the fun of riding in the elements, discovering new and beautiful locations, as well as simply enjoying the fun and healthy lifestyle associated with the sport. The beauty of the kite is it allows the world's best riders to blow our minds in terms of what's possible when wind and water sports are combined. Within kitesurfing, world champions are crowned in racing and performance disciplines. Kite racing will launch as an Olympic sport for the first time in Paris 2024. The performance side of kiting includes freestyle and twin-tip boards, while the GKA Kitesurf World Tour is focused on finding the most complete surfboard riders. The formats for the Kitesurf World Tour are combined throughout the year at different locations. Over the 7 events this year, the riders have competed in 2 pure wave competitions, 3 pure strapless freestyle, and at 2 events where riders could possibly mix both disciplines to show kitesurfing's true potential, should conditions allow. On the GKA Kitesurf World Tour, the riders have charged challenging waves as well as more regular real-world conditions. Going into the 2018 season, Ayrton Cozzolino was reigning champion. Now riding for Italy, he grew up in Cape Verde and is the trailblazer of new school strapless freestyle and has been the one to catch when it comes to flat water tricks. Ayrton's a phenomenal talent in waves too. It was, however, his childhood friend, Matthew Lopez, who took the inaugural men's championship for this tour in 2016 with his super fluid wave riding approach. These two have been going head to head in many finals ever since. Strapless freestyle is a new discipline for the women, with 2017 being their first year in this combined GKA Kitesurf World Tour. Renowned Hawaiian wave rider Muna White came into 2018 looking to defend her women's title, having won a standout event at the Break of One Eye in Mauritius. She would face stiff competition with the return of 2-time world champion Dutch star Yalu Langere. This is the story of the 2018 GKA Kitesurf World Tour. 49 riders registered for the season's first event at Cape Verde in February. The sport of Punta Preta has built a notoriously strong reputation for producing big, clean waves over a shallow reef. The waves were smaller than expected, but this is World Tour competition and riders have to prevail come what may. With a kite, anything's possible. The standout performance of that first session undoubtedly came from Australian 4-time world champion Kiahi Diaboites, who was finding his flow. Several riders were chancing their luck in the smaller waves, riding right into the rocks before kicking out at the last second. The frenetic pace continued with Ayrton Cozzolino's first heat. The local hero turned up the performance dial to land a grabbed back roll on the wave, especially difficult in these cross-offshore winds. That was the first time anyone has landed that manoeuvre in competition. The judges were also awarding high scores to Portuguese powerhouse Paulina Pereira. Hard turns in some of the biggest waves of day 3 scored not 1 but 2 perfect 10s for his efforts. Brazilian Sebastian Ribeiro was near faultless too, with a precise and super smooth surf-inspired style alongside an impeccable wave selection. In round 4, nobody saw the early exit coming for 2016 world champion Matthew Lopez, who was ejected by Brazilian Pedro Matos. In the first semi-final heat, Kiahi stopped Pedro with a polished display. Ayrton's heat against Sebastian was similarly tight, with long spells between the sets and the wind becoming marginal at times. Ayrton and Kiahi met in the season's first final. Having competed against each other several times over the years, Reigning champion Ayrton was, however, yet to manage a heat victory against Kiahi. Ayrton launched into the heat with some of the best aerials of the event, attacking each wave until the last moment. Kiahi responded with a seamless flow and tactical wave selection. However, conditions started favouring off-the-lip moves. By the time the heat closed, it was pretty clear Ayrton had taken the win and finally put one over Kiahi.
I do many hits in the past with Kiahi. He always beat me, but this time in my home I did all to come on the top, you know, and I'm super stoked.
The women got their heats underway on day 2. Defending GKA Women's Champion, Hawaiian Muna White had arguably the most complete performance of the division in round 1 against South African Lyda Hekrut. Tour favourites Muna White and Yalu Langare met in the final. Hunting out conditions, the contest organisers moved the competition to the north of the island and a spot called Secrets. In the end, there were less than 2 points separating them, but it was Muna who claimed the first win. Muna and Yalu were a step above at this first event, and it looked like the season would be a closely run contest between these two.
I've been hearing about this place for so long, and now finally coming all this way from Hawaii, it was amazing to see these really nice waves and come out on top, so I'm really happy.
Round 2 took place on the edge of the Western Sahara at kiting hotspot Dhokla in Morocco. Famed for offering huge, super flat water lagoon as well as coastal cross-shore wave conditions, Dhokla has become one of the most popular kitesurfing holiday destinations in the world for its diverse riding terrain and regular wind. Conditions were good from the start of the event window, and this would be the first mixed format event that was scheduled for the season. A good wind forecast gave organisers the chance to run a full double elimination, which effectively means that 2 competitions will be completed to find the winner. Judged on a split criteria of 70% wave riding and 30% strapless freestyle, the men's division were up first. Ayrton Castelo once again set the beach alight, opening his Dhokla account with a huge new trick, a massive back roll with a board-off-board spin. Famed for some of his low and technical wake style inspired moves, he just got even tougher to beat. The waves dropped back and became more sporadic, but Kiahi Diaboitas is a 4-time event winner in Dhokla and understands how to find results. The Australian was once again eyeing up his route to the single elimination final, eliminating kiting legend Mitu Montero in the semis. Ayrton had to deal with Machu Lopez in his semi-final, but for the second event in a row, it would be an Ayrton v Kiahi final. Both riders squeezed all they could out of the small waves and light winds. Ayrton came out on top again, but all riders would get a second chance in the double elimination. For the women, the action moved to the point at Lambuir. The wind also softened for the final stages of their single elimination. Yalu showed just how much she's improved her backside riding approach by beating Spaniard Carla Herrera Uria and booked another final matchup against Muna, who had overcome Portuguese Ines Carrera. Yalu rode strongly. The Dutch rider claimed the top step. That advanced her straight to the double elimination final, where she would have to be beaten twice. Due to the shifting wave conditions, the scoring criteria was adjusted for the double eliminations, reducing the wave riding to 60% and increasing the strapless freestyle to 40%. In one of the best heats of the contest, Kiahi overcame Mitu Montero to secure the third final matchup of the season against Ayrton, who was already waiting in the finals. Castelo struck early with a barrage of tricks, while Kiahi was more focused on seeking out waves. That strategy seemed to pay off. Ayrton continued to steadily throw down tricks and sealed the deal with a flat 3-handle pass, leaving Kiahi no time left to reply.
Close hit with Kiahi Diaboitas, but I did all my best. I put some great tricks on the event, so that was pays off, you know, and I'm super stoked and I have no word, you know, I couldn't speak.
Some tight battles continued in the women's ladder, but it would be yet another Muna v Yalu final. Muna won, forcing a rematch. The Hawaiian was getting more waves in the second final, but Yalu was really making her selections count. It was impossible to call. As the riders assembled on the podium, the news came through. Yalu had done it, and she was justifiably stoked.
Best birthday present ever! I'm so excited to take first place. Winning here in Dhokla makes me feel super happy, and it kind of couldn't have been a better day than it is today, so it's time to celebrate now.
Viana de Castelo in Portugal was host of round 3 in June. 46 riders from 16 countries registered at Viana Hotel, and for the first 4 days could only enjoy the small waves and stunning local scenes as the wind and swell remained uncharacteristically absent. Experts at managing to squeeze a result out of difficult conditions, the Tour competition team had the riders starting early on the 5th and final day of the event. Day broke with a light northerly wind and minimal swell, so the decision was made to switch this event format to 100% strapless freestyle. At the start of the season, Carla Herrera had been the only woman really pushing strapless freestyle. Muna White and Yalu Langare were starting to up their strapless freestyle ability and booked themselves another final, which Muna eventually won with a more consistent average score. Ayrton broke out the first handle pass of the contest in the men's division, stomping it cleanly. By then the wind was starting to crank up. The master of strong winds, it was looking like the day would play perfectly into his hands. The final felt a little like a flashback to the 2017 season, when Ayrton and Mathieu Lopez contested several finals. Mathieu knew Ayrton was beatable in waves, but in strapless freestyle, Ayrton had only ever been beaten once. But that was by Mathieu in Germany in 2017. Ayrton opened up first and was going huge. Mathieu answered back with his own brand of fluid freestyle, including a double front shove it. Only ever going 100% into a heat, Ayrton uncharacteristically started crashing some of his bigger moves, at which point Mathieu peaked, successfully making a triple front roll for the first time in competition. This was a massive win for him, as he needed a boost to his otherwise slow start to the 2018 season. Round 4 was staged in the kitesurfing capital of Europe, Tarifa in Spain. Rare light winds on the first 2 days had seen intermittent heats run in the late afternoon breezes, and the results of round 1 and 2 saw 33 men become 16. Round 3 eventually restarted 2 days later in front of a bigger Spanish weekend crowd. Strapless freestyle competition was first launched here in Tarifa 4 years earlier, so it's the spiritual home of the format, and the locals love to witness the action. The biggest upset was Barbadian Simon Houston knocking out Kiahi Diaboitas in round 3. Kiahi held his hands up, he'd been beaten fair and square. Ayrton really hit his stride against Ralph Berlin in the quarterfinals. Just how can you stop a man who has ankles that are seemingly made of steel? In the semis, he stopped Mitu Montero and was sniffing out his 3rd event victory of the season. When the climax eventually came, the crowd were devastated as the horn signalled the end of the final between Mathieu and Ayrton. In the end, Mathieu acknowledged that he was happy with his performance, but Ayrton's 2 clean, powerful, unhooked handle passes had ensured that he remained the only man to have ever won in strapless freestyle competition in Tarifa.
And having Ayrton again on the final, it's good, you know, it's pushing, and yeah, I did what I could. The wind is not so strong, but I think it was good. I did what I could do.
Tour leaders Muna White and Yalu Langare were absent, using the Tarifa event as their discard, a rapid rising local star breaking onto the international scene, Carla Herrera dominated the heats here, and this was to be the start of an impressive series of events for the Spaniard.
Finally we have girls here on Tarifa, and I'm so happy to start to push, the girls start to push and just doing strapless freestyle like the men, so I'm really happy.
Ayrton Cozzolino is also undefeated at Sotavento and was shooting for his hat-trick on the Canarian island of Fuerteventura at the Reniegli Melia Centre. A win here would secure his second world title in a row. With lots on the line, the Sotavento win machine fired up. With just 2 women having signed up, this was run as a single event ladder with 24 riders going head-to-head. In super strong conditions, competitors would be judged 60% on height and 40% on technicality. The strength of the wind here allows for high tricks, but the gusts add an extra level of technicality. From the start, all riders were going huge, maximising the gusts and landing their best new tricks. Carolina Pereira, however, would go on to land the first ever full strapless boogie loop rodeo in competition in round 3 against James Carew. In the end, the final would once again be contested between Ayrton and Mathieu. After his slow start to the year, Mathieu was now finding a great rhythm, but taking down Ayrton in these conditions at a spot he's never lost at was a huge ask. Approaching the last minute, they both took off, Mathieu attempting a triple front roll on the inside, while Ayrton adjusted to the gusts around another huge back roll combination. In the final few seconds, Ayrton took off halfway inside the competition box and landed 100 yards from where he started. Tucking his legs up to his chest, he placed the board under his feet and instinctively pressed them into the deck for landing. He rode away, letting the kite pull him downwind and out of the competition zone. The job was done. All 5 judges had given Ayrton 10s, a first in Kitesurf World Tour history, and the result took him to 4 wins from 5 events in this 7-event season. Although he'd now gathered enough points to mathematically claim the title, there were no celebrations, as Ayrton wanted to win as many events as possible this season. He still wasn't done here in Sotavento, and in a big air event staged for the crowd, Ayrton set a new strapless hang time world record of 14.3 seconds. He then almost landed a 19-second flight. Incredible. Sotavento certainly delivered again in what was the 30th consecutive year of windsurfing and kitesurfing competitions, hosted by Reniegli and now the Melia Hotel. The state of Ceará in the northeast of Brazil is one of the most consistently windy kiteboarding locations in the world. Close to the famous town of Jericoacoara, the fishing village of Praia delivers some of the strongest winds in the area, frequently ramping up to a solid 30 knots in the afternoons. A full 5 days of double elimination strapless freestyle competition flew by in late November. After a 2-month break since the previous round in Fuerteventura, it was clear the training had paid off for most of the fleet. Camille Delanoy is a French 19-year-old who moved here 7 years ago with his family. His army of local support, alongside his obvious total comfort in these conditions, propelled this regular top 5 rider all the way to his first final in the singles. Ayrton went up against the on-fire French team in a full power final, with both riders going all in with big aerial manoeuvres. First blood in Brazil went to Camille, who couldn't believe he'd taken down Airways Cozzolino.
I'm feeling so good right now, like to be on my own spot and to win the single elimination. I couldn't be happier, you know.
With the solid forecast continuing and still 2 days left in the competition window, the double eliminations came next. Ayrton and Camille would do battle again in that final, but Ayrton would have to beat Camille twice. Beating him once in a close heat, Ayrton forced one more super final, and what was one of the best and most exciting heats ever seen in kiteboarding competition. Ayrton pulled an early lead, nailing trick after trick. The deficit looked too much for Camille, but with just the best 3 tricks being scored, he clawed his way back. As the horn sounded, Camille looked to be ahead on the scoreboard, but cruelly, on a countback, the judges realised they'd missed a board flip from Ayrton on his way down from a kite loop, which just edged him the win. What a performance from both riders. That was one for the memory banks.
You know, all the riders is super strong, they motivate me, you know. Every year they're getting stronger, so it's getting harder, so I have to go for it, I have to train it more, get a new trick, otherwise it's gonna be crazy.
Yalu Langare was back in the women's contest, however Muna was still absent, this time with a back injury sustained at home in Hawaii. Having attended every event and by winning in Tarifa, Carla Herrera-Aria had moved to the top of the rankings. A big surprise came when Carla slipped up in her first heat, however, and was ejected from the single elimination. Yalu took the win against 51-year-old Sabine Bucaliers from Belgium, who was riding in only her first event. Carla then fought her way through several heats in a row and made it to the double elimination final, where she won against Yalu, forcing another super final. Yalu was fresher, however, and gathered her composure to edge the win, taking a crucial, narrow lead in the championship with one event to go.
I don't think I have any words for this. I'm like, holy smokes! I'm like, now I ended up doing pretty good and winning my heat, and I'm just like overwhelmed by this result.
And so to round 7 and the finals of the 2018 GKA Kitesurf World Tour at Torquay, just outside Melbourne in Australia. Ayrton had the championship sealed, but all riders were looking to win here at Point Danger, which is close to Australian surfing's spiritual home, Bells Beach, especially so for national hero Kiahi Diaboitas. On the women's side, the title was still undecided. It was a winner-takes-all affair between Spaniard Carla Herrera-Aria and Holland's Yalu Langare. The early days of the contest proved difficult, and the contest was moved to 13th beach on day 1 to find waves and rain for the women. As the rain intensified and the tricky onshore wind lulled up and down, eventually the contest was paused after round 3. The women were back in action early the next morning at the main spot of Point Danger. When Yalu took to the water for her first heat against Australian Jen Milton, conditions started to rear up with more solid waves out back. Although mushy on the inside, Yalu used her extensive competition experience to grind out a result. The final was the much anticipated matchup between Yalu and Carla. Yalu struck, though the conditions were only allowing for 1 or 2 real heats. Carla wasn't backing down and picked up a number of cleaner waves on the inside. When the results were in, it was advantage Yalu, but would there be time to run the doubles? If not, this was a vital result. When the contest switches focus to waves, Ayrton has less of a dominance, as this is an extremely talented field of passionate kite surfers. The champion had a scare against local Aussie ripper Bo Pilgrim in round 3, but was then knocked out in the quarterfinals by Sebastian Ribeiro, who focused on scoring less waves than Ayrton, but ensured he picked the biggest of the sets to maximise his rise. Kiahi indeed achieved his goal of reaching the final to face Ribeiro, who'd made it to his first final of the season. The wind backed off though, forcing a pause in competition and a nervy wait. When the action eventually got back underway, the final was as much about tactical selection as full-on driving hacks in good conditions. Having been a professional surfer, Sebastian has an ever-present surf style and is hugely respected by the other athletes for his wave-riding approach. Kiahi, however, measured his time and picked out the big ones and claimed the singles victory on home soil on his birthday. It was left to good friends Mitu Montero and Machu Lopez to fight it out for third place. Mitu demonstrated an inspirational creative edge to his riding, alternating between a backside and frontside wave attack. Machu was aware that he'd now lost second place overall in the championship to Kiahi, so perhaps he relaxed and looked like he was enjoying his last heat of 2018. Machu did enough and won a really entertaining heat to claim third step at point danger. Having already pushed late into the contest window, there wasn't time for a double elimination to be won, which meant that the single elimination result stood as official.
I've been hoping for an event in Australia for a long time, and to have it and to be able to take it out, it's a dream come true.
Yalu Langare had done enough to claim her third world title after a hard-fought season against Muna White earlier in the year, and Carla Herrera Aria towards the end. But her wave riding prowess and improving freestyle ability ensured she was the deserving winner in the end. Kiahi de Aboitas was stoked to win his home event in Australia, while Ayrton had to settle for not reaching the final season's podium, but the 2018 title and second world championship in a row were his, and once again he's been nothing short of sensational. Kiahi's win in Australia ensured he took runner-up spot in the championship, while Machu Lopez's improved late season form and third place finish in Australia saw him claim the remaining spot on the championship podium. Once again, the riders on the GKA Kitesurf World Tour have shown his incredible skills in this championship that seeks to find the most complete surfboard rider with a kite. Ayrton, Yalu and all the other top flight stars will be back again in 2019 for a 6-event series that will surely be filled with more exciting action. We'll see you next time.